Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. So I've got a collection update to share with everybody. This is pretty much all the things I've accumulated so far in 2025, because I haven't done one of these videos in a while, and I've had some really cool finds here recently. Plus, I made some Amazon orders for some things that were on my wish list. So I like to share all these with everybody. So kicking things off, let's go with some of my record store finds over the past couple of months here. I don't collect a whole lot of cassettes, but I did pick up Don Dawkins Up from the Ashes, because I don't have this on CD or on vinyl. So this was at the record store for $4. I wanted to pick it up, so I at least had some form of this to add that one to my Dawkins collection. Now, somebody commented on my one video not too long ago about Y&T, and they suggested that I check out Earthshaker, Black Tiger, and Mean Streak, as those were the best Y&T albums. Well, won't you know it, the record store had all three the next time I went in there, so I picked all three of these up: Earthshaker, Black Tiger, and Mean Streak. I played each of these. I do like all of these, I think, better than Contagious. I don't know, I guess Earthshaker and Contagious are kind of on the same level for me. These were the two I think I preferred better, and I actually think I'm leaning a little bit more towards Black Tiger, but some really good stuff right there. I enjoyed all three of those albums quite a bit. Another pickup from the record store, Bon Jovi's Have a Nice Day. This is a dual disc. Remember those pain in the butt things from the mid-2000s? I picked this up because it's got a, obviously it's got a DVD side. It's got the Have a Nice Day album on CD, and then on DVD you have the entire album in high resolution Dolby surround sound and stereo, but it also has the music video for Have a Nice Day, plus some live performances, which I thought would be pretty cool to check out. So for $3, I mean, $3 is worth anything Bon Jovi that isn't already in my collection. So pick that up. Next up, we have Little Queen from Hearts. One of their classic albums from the late 70s, Barracuda. One of the most iconic Heart songs. I almost called them Queen. I don't know why I would do such a thing. 1 second here. Throat's getting a little scratchy. Living Color, Time's Up. Thought that'd be worth taking a chance. I don't know that I know anything from this album. I think everything I know from Living Color is on Vivid, but for $3, I think it'd be pretty cool to check out one out there. I think Bill's going to be happy that I picked up another Living Color one. I'm not a big live album collector, but Blondie Live, thought this would be pretty cool to pick up. It's got a lot of their great classics on it, like Dreamin' and Hanging on Telephone, Atomic, Sunday Girl, Shayla. But it's got some of their 99 songs from No Exit on it, most notably Maria. So thought it'd be cool to pick that one up. Like I said, not a big live album guy, but I felt so inclined to pick that one up. Poison's Greatest Hits. I picked up the first three Poison albums at Goodwill here not too long ago, and I'm not the biggest Poison fan in the world, and I think having those three first albums is just almost all the Poison that I need. It's almost a little bit more than all the Poison I need, to be honest. But there's one song called So Tell Me Why. It's on this one. I think it came from like one of their live album. I think had like some extra tracks on it or something, but it wasn't on any of their studio albums, and it's one of my favorite, top 4 or 5 favorite Poison songs. So to have that song in my collection on CD, I picked up the best of hits here. So I mean, there's some other good songs on here, like Fallen Angels, awesome. I also really love Ride the Wind. Flesh and Blood's cool. And then Still Tell Me Why. So some good songs on here. Just about every Poison song I like is on here, minus one or two. So Like I said, I'm not a big live album collector, or not a big live album guy, but Priest live. Um, while I was at it picking up the Blondie live album, I thought I really ought to get some live Judas Priest in my collection because I actually don't have any. All right, this was a pickup from a antique store I visited. Um, Fuel's Natural Selection. I've been wanting to get this one because I really enjoyed those first two Fuel albums I got last year. And I've always enjoyed the bands like Big Hits. But when I finally got around to picking up their studio albums last year, I really dug them both, and I wanted to get their third one. And it's in this antique store I haven't been into in a long time, and looked through the first, I think it was in the first selection of CDs that I looked at, and they had this one there for $1. So awesome stuff. Another antique store I visited, came away with these two gems: Firehouse, their debut album, and David Lee Roth, Little Ain't Enough. And then here's the Amazon orders that I have made to fill out some to get some of my my wish list that I likely wasn't going to find in any stores anytime soon. How about Winger's Karma? One of my favorite Winger albums, right up there with Pole. I think it's just a really awesome album. The way this thing kicks your ass coming out of the gate, the first like 5 songs are all absolute bangers. And Supernova is really cool. Always Within Me is a Grower, Feeding Frenzy. The one song I just cannot get into, though, is track 9, After All This Time. I'm not a big fan of that one. But then you go to track 10, Witness is pretty good, and a really awesome solo from Reb Beach to close this thing out. And then you've got the bonus track, First Ending. There's also Making of Karma video documentary, too. So that'll be cool to check out one of these days when I get a chance to do that. But really happy to have Karma in the collection. Ghost from Big Wreck. Really, really awesome band right here. And I actually have a couple more Big Wreck albums coming. They haven't arrived yet, but I want to collect as much of them on CD as I can because this band is just, they're really good. They don't get a lot of radio play down here in the States either, which is a shame. I mean, ever since Albatross was big 12 years ago or whatever it was, that's how I discovered Big Wreck, was through that song. But ever since then, I don't think I've heard Big Wreck on the radio. So I've known about them. I've kind of kept up with them, but not really. Anytime they put an album out, it would kind of be like on the edge of my radar a little bit. But lately, I've really been digging into these albums, and they are fantastic. This album right here is just amazing. The songs that I already knew, like I Digress, Diamonds, Friends, Come What May, I love all those tracks. And then the ones that I really wasn't familiar with before, like Place to Call Home, Ghosts, My Life, Still Here, Break, Off and Running, all amazing stuff. War Baby, the one Big Wreck song I don't like. I know, I know a couple of their EPs, a couple of their albums in full, and then some other tracks. I don't know all their albums entirely, but so far, it's the one song I don't like. But still, awesome album right there. Ghost from Big Wreck. Deep Purple's Now What. I have this on vinyl, but I wanted to get it on CD so I could enjoy it on CD as well, because I find myself in position to enjoy my CDs a little bit more often than my vinyl. Often whenever the rest of the house is asleep at night, I like to plug into my headphones and listen to some CDs. I can't really do that with vinyl without waking up the house. So, yeah, I wanted to be able to plug this one in and enjoy it a little bit more often on the physical means, if you will. I bought that Rainbow box set back around Christmas time, and I was astonished that Rising was not one of the 5 albums included. So I had to get Rising. Had to. Absolutely had to. Great album. Obviously, Tear It Woman and Run with the Wolf. 2 great songs to open this thing up. The B-side with Stargazer and A Light in the Black. Freaking epic. It's just those 2 songs in the middle I'm not like real crazy about. So even though I think Rainbow Rising is a fantastic album, I don't know if it's my favorite from Rainbow, just because those 2 songs in the middle to me are... take it or leave it, I guess. But man, the B-side is worth the price of admission. Some of the most epic stuff you'll ever hear. Speaking of the most epic stuff you'll ever hear, Rush, Clockwork Angels. Finally got this one in the collection. I've been wanting to pick this one up for a while. I think this is a great way for Rush to cap their career. In this album, I don't think I really realized how much I feel it's backloaded. And that's not to say that the front half is not good, because it is. The front half has like Caravan, the title track, The Anarchist, which is all great stuff. But really around like 7 Cities of Gold, The Wreckers is my favorite song on the album. Headlong Flight, Wish the Well in the Garden. Those are like my favorite songs of the album, like all right there toward the end. So great stuff from Rush, Clockwork Angels. And last but not least here, Big Country, The Seer. I've been keeping my eye out for a copy of this, and they're always like uber freaking expensive. But finally I found one that was in like a reasonable price range, so I snatched it up. And this is a really good album from Big Wreck. I think it's the one album from the 80s that can rival The Crossing, Look Away, The Seer, Teacher, Remembrance Day. Really good songs. Probably my 2 favorite on here though, I Walk the Hill and One Great Thing. Love those 2 tracks. Then I got 2 vinyl here. Bon Jovi, What About Now? This was at the record store a while ago. Had to get it, had to pick it up. I love this album. Maybe not top shelf Bon Jovi, but I still love this album. I think there's a lot of great material on there that nobody appreciates. And this was at the the antique store that I got the Fuel CD. Asia's Astra. I don't know hardly anything about Asia beyond the first album, so this one, as far as I know, I don't know anything from it. But for $3, I just thought this was a really nice looking album. It looked like it was in really good shape. The vinyl was in good shape and everything. You know, just this is a really good. It seemed like a really good deal for $3, so I didn't want to pass it up. So those have been my musical pickups here within the last couple months. One last thing I want to share. This is not music related at all, but I thought this was pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of NHRA drag racing, and my favorite driver of all time is Kenny Bernstein. So when my son was born almost 5 years ago, we were in a really small apartment. Really small. And any space that we could make to add a child mattered. So we had to go through and weed out things that we didn't use just to make room for my son to arrive, and all the things that we needed for him, and, you know, plus adding, you know, toys and whatnot. So the room that was going to become his room, the closet in there, I had like, my hat collection was taking up like half the shelf in the closet. I had like 30-40 hats and I only wore like 5 of them, which is, I mean, is that like not the story of everyone's life? But I decided to only keep the 4 or 5, 6 hats that I wear the most, and the rest I gave to Goodwill. Well, a couple weeks ago, I work at Goodwill, and I was at work, and I was sorting through stuff, and this came. This is a Kenny Bernstein Forever Red, which is his retirement tour back in 2002. I had this hat, and it was one of the hats, unfortunately, that I gave away, because it was one that I just didn't wear that often. But it came through, and I was able to buy it when it got out to the floor, and I am 99.999% sure this is my hat. Because, first of all, you don't see a lot of Kenny Bernstein, you don't see a lot of NHRA hats just floating around out there. Then to specifically have this hat, which I had back in the day with the flames on the side, the Forever Red tour, signed on the bill, the signature looks exactly how I remember it looking. So for my hat to come back to me was really awesome. I was kind of hoping at that point maybe the other like 29 hats that I gave away would come back too, but if only one of them could come back to me, I was happy it was this one right here. I think that was just really cool. So, because I gave away almost all of my NHRA hats with the exception of this one right here, my Tony Schumacher one that my dad got for me for Christmas back in 2010, I think. And as you can tell, I've really worn the crap out of it. So to have my Bernstein hat back, I was like really stoked about that. So those have been my pickups here. I think I'm going to tack on an extra thing here. If you want to stick around, it's not music related, but it's just something that I kind of would like to share with anybody who cares. So if all you care about is the music, I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. If anybody wants to stick around to see my new little NHRA display that I have set up, I'm gonna tack that on the end of the video here. So as promised here, I look at my NHRA display. We got some new shelves for the place, and we didn't use all the shelves, so I got some room to put some of my NHRA memorabilia up. So for anybody who happens to care, this is for you, but just something I wanted to kind of tack on to the end of my video here. So take a look. Starting up top here, we got my Eagles helmet. Go Birds, fly Eagles fly. Let's go win the Super Bowl again next year. And globe. So this top shelf here, this is my funny car shelf. You've got Kenny Bernstein, the small diecast of his 1988 or 89 Budweiser King Buick. It's essentially the same car in 88 or 89, the same make and model, same paint scheme. So we'll go with 1988 because he won the title that year. Next year we got Tony Pedregon's 2000 ride with John Force Racing, the Castrol Syntec Ford, and the back there you've got the card from when Tony formed his own team in 2004, moved on with the Quaker State sponsor, and had a good 5-year run as an owner driver, winning championship in 2007. Down here you've got John Force, his 1993 Castrol GTX Oldsmobile, and back there you got the small card. Of course, John, the man, the myth, the legend himself, never was the biggest Force fan, but anybody who follows NHRA and knows about John's big accident last year, he's still not back from it. I certainly hate to see a legend go out that way, so on one hand I would love to see him come back and at least win one more race, but I do think it is time for him to think about just stepping into the ownership role. Back there you got Cruz Pedregon, his 2002 card, signed right there. Right here we've got Whit Bazemore, his 2001, was it a Dodge? I forget. Pontiac. It was a Pontiac. They moved to Dodge, I think, in 2002 or 2003. But the Matco Tools car, I love those early 2000s Matco Tools cars with the eagle on the side. And Whit, even though most people didn't like him, I always liked him. I thought he was, I was like how he just kind of told you like it was. Didn't care what you thought. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that some of my favorite drivers in funny car, the Pedregon brothers, Tony Pedregon, probably other than Bernstein, Tony Pedregon's my favorite funny car driver. I know Pedregons and Bazemore aren't popular, and both of them have had beef with Force over the years, but they probably had beef with each other, Pedregon and Bazemore, more than anything. And then down here we've got one of my favorite funny cars of all time, Jim White's Hawaiian Punch Dodge from 1991, owned by Roland Leong. So I always thought that was a really nice looking car. Jim White, also one of my favorite funny car drivers. Down here, my first Top Fuel shelf, I added my Kyle Busch diecast car, Go Rowdy Nation. Back there you got the Brandon Bernstein card from when he took over for Kenny in 2003. Brandon was right up there with Larry Dixon, battling for the points lead the first third of the year before his crash in Englishtown, which I was at that race too. That was pretty wild. Then of course Kenny came back and finished out the second half of the season and won the last 4 races that year. So won the last 4 races that he ever entered in a Top Fuel car before Brandon came back in 2004. And you see this right here, the Bud King. I got this at a antique store 15 or so years ago, and you can tell it's not in the best condition. It's missing a piece of the wing up here. You see the headers are missing over there. Don't have rubber on that tire, so it's a little worse for wear, but it was only $7. And for the car that Kenny won his first Top Fuel title in '96, heck yeah, I'll take that. And back there you've got Tony Schumacher, my other favorite driver of all time, right behind Kenny. That's his 2008 Top Fuel car right there. Won 15 out of 24 races. Just had a phenomenal season. It's a wonderful time to be a Schumacher fan for sure. And the 2002 card right there. One of my favorite posters from Schumacher's Army days. And then down there, that spark plug came from Tony's car in 2003. They just had a bunch of spent spark plugs sitting out for fans to grab, so I snatched one up. This down here is my unintentional year 2000 display. I've got five-time champ Joe Amato, another one of my all-time favorite drivers. His 2000 card right there. Right there you've got Kenny Bernstein's 2000 Bud King car. Won the very first race in Las Vegas in that car. Right here we've got Tony Schumacher's Exide car. You can see the number 1 on the wing there. Came out of nowhere in '99, won the championship. And for the first 2/3 of 2000, run this Exide car here. Was neck and neck with Gary Scelzi for the title. And then of course, Indianapolis, he got the U.S. Army sponsorship. A couple races later had that bad accident and missed the rest of the year, but would come back and a few years later just go on a reign of terror. So always liked that Exide car there. And then back there we've got Doug Coletta. Hard to imagine him with MGM Grand because he's so synonymous with Mac Tolles, but I wanted to put another 2000 piece there. So that was from Y2K there. Doug Coletta, another one of the greats. So that was my NHRA display for anybody who cares to see it. So thanks for sticking.